This is Eagle Owl, and today we'll be talking about Jordan Davis. He's been balling. Also, Saquon Barkley touches potentially dropping. And lastly, we got to talk about Dylan McMahon signing with the Rams. But let's get straight into it. All right, so before we get straight into it, found an interesting stat about Nick Sirianni. He's the most winning head coach in the league right now with a .673 winning percentage, which is really good. So I want to say this. Safe to say, Nick Sirianni is not going anywhere at all. Wanted to bring this up because, we harp on Nick Sirianni, some of the things that he do, but we usually don't talk about the good. And one thing I could say about Nick Sirianni, I mean, he found ways to win from time to time. I'll say that his record as a head coach is phenomenal. He know when to step back, which he known like, all right, after that season, I gotta step back, and I gotta appreciate him for that. So safe to say that winning percentage, especially if the Eagles go far, he's not going anywhere. Well, the saying is, what if we win the Super Bowl or whatever, or Kellen Moore just one hell of a play caller? What do we do to avoid Kellen Moore going somewhere else? I could see him moving to like the front office, Nate Sirianni. I don't see us firing him, but he'll work more closely with Howie Roseman instead of being the head coach. I can see that happening. But I just wanted to shout out my guy. But let's talk about Dylan McMahon. He signed with the Rams. He was on our practice squad, our backup center. I hate this because when you look at the spots on the active roster, and you know who they had to make room for, right? James Bradbury, man. James Bradbury took a spot from a up and coming rookie. He could have stayed with Stoutland for a couple years and really developed. But the Rams was like, oh, that guy's on their practice squad. Let's bring him over here. So it was one of the surprise cuts by all the journalists. Like they were shocked that he was cut because he started off the training camp a little slow, but as training camp went on, he got better and better and better. Even look at his preseason numbers; they were great. So it was one of those things like, wow, we letting go a potential center, a potential good lineman in this league. But he get his opportunity in Los Angeles, and congratulations to him. But I hate that he had to leave, man. He's one of the ones. He could have been one of those ones, but the Eagles made some roster moves, and this particular guy, a lot of our analysts and our beat writers are harping on. So Eagles have signed Danny Gray and defensive back AJ Woods, and we released linebacker Brandon Smith and Griffin Herbert. Now, the AJ Woods guy is the guy that a lot of us are talking about. Like, he's the one. He can really ball out. He played outside majority in Pittsburgh, but he's like 5'9" ish. But when he came into the league as an undrafted guy to the Commanders, they played him mainly in the slot. But let's go over some numbers, a little bit of numbers. So again, according to Anthony DeBona, he played 4 seasons at Pitt. Wood primarily play outside corner. Given his size, 5'9", 186 pounds, he's likely a better fit at slot. And you see Woods played 46 of his 55 preseason snaps for the Commanders at slot. And Jacob Rabati had to say this about AJ Woods as well. Extremely intriguing by the addition of AJ Woods. Good size, great movement, and a huge hitter who is great in run support. Very solid in the zone too. So this is one of those good pickups, a good guy to have on the practice squad. We so deep at DB. When we signed the DB, I'm like, okay, we signed another DB, even though you still got like Eli Ricks and stuff on the bench who was just having starting minutes. But now we technically don't really even need him like that. Then you had Keely Ringo only play about 4 snaps, but this is a good thing. Get as many DBs because we know what happened last year. We were short on DBs, and we got cooked up. We definitely got cooked up. So this AJ Woods guy, a lot of people are high on. So hopefully, he brings something to the Eagles. Hopefully, he don't get signed off our practice squad or anything like that. He sit, chill, and he's probably gonna be one of those guys we look out for as far as next year, like when training camp start up again, and we see if the Eagles keep him around and see if he develop into something. I don't know. I don't know, man, but happy both guys are on the squad. But all right, let's talk about Jordan Davis, man. This Jordan Davis thing, it's getting overblown, and I seen a tweet on Twitter, and it's going viral now. So it was like, yeah, Jordan Davis is a good guy, but look at these snaps. I mean, I don't think he could ever be like that great guy that we expect him to be. And I knew I wasn't tripping. I'm looking at the snaps, and I don't want to discredit this dude that pulled this up. I just disagree with him. I'm looking at him like the snaps weren't that bad. I don't think people understand what a nose tackle do. So the nose tackle is like a guy that supposed to, fill up the gaps, take on many blocks as possible, and open up holes for like your linebackers, the edge rushers, et cetera, et cetera. They not really pass rushers. They more like run stoppers per se. Now, do I hope one day Jordan Davis can be a great pass rusher? Absolutely. Definitely showed signs last year. It only been one game, so we don't know. But he did his thing for us. His gap assignments. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what a nose tackle do. Hell, if Jordan Davis get 1, 2 sacks, but be this top tier run stopper, I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. And shout out to Mike Truth or Philly Truther or something like that on Twitter. So he put out a thread responding to this tweet of how effective Jordan Davis is, and I let the clips play. And there was one still shot he got that caught my attention because I think Jordan Davis was taking up like three offensive linemen, and it freed up Zach Bond to get the sack on Jordan Love. And that's stuff that don't show up on the stat sheet, right? Or even just Nakobe Dean coming downhill stopping runs because Jordan Davis is taking up about like two guards in the center. So now it frees up the linebackers as free rushers. But Jordan Davis holding those guys that just don't show on the stat sheet. So with Jordan Davis, with him, the way you got to see his development, probably not going to see it by PFF. If you Google ESPN, you're probably not going to see it there. But where you will see it at like the All 22, or if you really watch football, you'll be like, okay, he's doing his job. While Nakobe Dean or Zach Bond or even the edge rushers get a sack, but you're forgetting Jordan Davis just took up like 3, 4 guys, and now you're 1-on-1, and now that free rusher is just running free. He don't have to worry about a guard coming to get him because a guy like Jordan Davis is holding it down as a nose tackle. So you got to look at those things when it comes to Jordan Davis. But again, hopefully he become that pass rusher that we want him to be. But I seen Jordan Davis do some things, and it really helped Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond like a lot. So do I want him to be a great pass rusher? Now that I think about it, I still do. But if he could take up those offensive linemen, I'm cool with that. So in my eyes, and a lot of people that watch the game, he's doing his job. He's doing a great job. So shout out to Jordan Davis, man. He's balling in my eyes. I'm sorry, he is balling. And what he's doing now is what I expect him to do. And that's what Vic Fangio came here for, is for Jordan Davis to develop and be that nose tackle guy. And I like our defensive line coach. I really do. He looked like a defensive lineman. So I like him, and I see some in our DTs. They look better. The edge rushers definitely need some work, but I can't really harp on them because a lot of people going in on Bryce Huff. A lot of people going in, not really on Josh Sweat, but just the edges in general. Like, what are they doing? I'm like, the field was slippery. We seen Hassan Reddick struggle in the Super Bowl due to a slippery field. Now, we don't get nothing off on Atlanta Falcons with a statue quarterback like Kirk Cousins. It's going to be a problem, but I can't really judge them right now. It's more of a wait and see thing. It's a wait and see thing. But let's talk about this Saquon Barkley thing. Saquon Barkley potentially will take less snaps. Nick Sirianni talked about managing his load, and this is what he had to say.
Long plan, or is it kind of week by week?
Yeah, obviously you do everything you can do to win each football game. And so once the game's in the flow, you think about how you're going to, win that game. And whether that's Saquon getting 20 whatever touches, whether that's us throwing the ball to AJ, Devontae, Dallas, whatever it may be, you try to manage them more within practice. So, something like that with Saquon having that many touches, we'll have a plan for that this week in practice, where we can take some of the load off them there. But every time you go into the game, every game's so important in the NFL that it's hard to say when he's got a hot hand like that too. To say, hey, you don't want to keep giving him the ball because you're trying to win every single game that you play. So again, that's our job as coaches to manage that throughout the week during practice, and games will take care of itself as it goes. Like, there's going to be naturally a game where we throw it 50 times, or Kenny or Will have a couple carries. So that will take care of itself throughout the year. And as of right now, we handle that through our practice.
You see, it sound like, we're going to find ways to limit his snaps because we want him to last through the season. And I totally agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I mean, 25, 26 touches is a lot, but you needed to do what you needed to do to win the game. And Nick Sirianni brought that up too. Sometimes it's just the flow of the game and what's working. It's not like, oh, we're going into this and Saquon's going to take 30 snaps. Maybe it's, again, Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown or even a Dallas Goedert who might go off. But they got to try to find a way to limit his snaps. And even include, I know y'all going to hate this, but even include Gainwell more because we need Saquon for the whole season. He's dynamic. He is special. You love to see the ball in his hands, but we want to see it for the whole 18-week season plus the playoffs. So we need our guy healthy in January, possibly February. So again, man, limit his snaps just a bit. If we need him to go off, let him go off, but just limit it a bit because again, he's a guy we need down the stretch, especially having a bye week. What, week 5? Like our bye week come up in like 3 weeks. Insane, man. That's crazy that we just gotta stretch out the whole season. But hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about the news today? How do we feel about Jordan Davis, Saquon Barkley? The Eagles made some moves. We did lose a guy, and this is Eagle out, man. I'm out.